Election time in Dhaka, not a rally for the one they're waiting for. This is for a market traders association. The real parliamentary election is due at the end of this month, and it's bound to be even more animated. This is a country where elections provoke passion and violence. There are no signs of the impending election on the streets. Strict emergency rules preventing rallies or banners are still in place for now. But the military-backed caretaker government has promised the fairest and most peaceful elections in the history of Bangladesh.
Bangladesh is ready for elections because A, we have a voters list which is free of errors, I can say, a voters list where we have photographs. So that's a precondition of a free, fair and credible election. And we have a set of amended electoral laws, rules, guidelines, codes of conduct.
Politics in Bangladesh has often been a confusing business, sometimes with unclear direction and hampered by corruption and mismanagement. Some complain the election is almost 2 years too late. According to the Constitution, it should have been held in January 2007, within 90 days after the end of the previous administration. The government says the delay was necessary to introduce fairer election mechanisms.
There have been some minor and cosmetic changes in the electoral rules. And accordingly, these rules also influenced some of the minor and very, very small reforms within some political parties. But the major factor is the human element. The human element would remain the same as it was before. In that context, I'm afraid we are not going to witness an election as we desired and expected from this government.
The caretaker government maintains that Bangladesh has made good progress in 22 months of emergency rule, and certainly people's lives have benefited, and there are corrupt politicians and businessmen behind bars. But some argue that the systematic corruption which has strangled this country is still in place, and many of the old faces are again vying for power and position.
Leaders of the two main political parties, Sheikh Hasina of the Awami League and Khaleda Zia of the Bangladesh National Party, are both facing corruption charges. Both deny any wrongdoing. But there are signs of progress. This was the first meeting between the two ladies in 15 years, an indication, say optimists, that it may be the start of a new era in Bangladesh politics, though not everyone agrees.
The most positive thing that has happened in Bangladesh is that people are much more aware of how corruption takes place and how people in power or with links in with people in power use those connections to really do corruption and to deprive people of their dues and rights.
In the history department of Dhaka University, many of these students will be voting for the first time. They are aware of corruption and they have concerns about how this election will go.
This election is not going to make a difference because some of those politicians who are charged with corruption are let out of jail free and will be nominated by their parties to contest.
The violence of 2 years ago led to emergency rule. The caretaker government is hoping its new measures will help calm the political waters and prevent similar scenes this time round. But it's a young country with some old wounds, and not all have healed yet. Tony Birtley, Al Jazeera, Dhaka, Bangladesh.